Yes, yes, Sir Hairless here. Today will be our second ever Carpenters video. Our first one was Rainy Days and Mondays. I enjoyed it. I think you enjoyed it, so I put out a poll over on Patreon for which Carpenters reaction to do next, and this one, We've Only Just Begun, was the winner. Apparently, it was originally composed as a jingle for a television commercial. You can let me know if that is in fact true or false. Right now, I'm wondering how a jingle can become a whole song or vice versa. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it.
We've only just begun to live. White lace and promises, a kiss for luck and we're on our way.
We've only begun.
Before the rising sun we fly. So many roads to choose. We start out walking and learn to run.
And yet we've just begun.
Sharing horizons that are new to
Oh, that's lovely. It's a super effective, really simple way, but very effective. What they just did with the melody, that falling. Gun, just acting as a transitional key change, a modulation. They've now changed key, which in and of itself is quite a drastic thing to do in music. It's usually quite noticeable, but they've somehow made it a bit more subtle just from that falling in the melody. Maybe it's not that subtle. To me, it did really stand out, but I like how they did it, especially now because the whole feel of the song is changing. It's become a bit more upbeat. We have heavier percussion now.
And yet we've just begun.
And we've got the brass, the trumpets coming in just for one note.
sharing horizons that are
Also, my guy down here, absolutely loving life. Look at him go.
horizons that are new to us.
Love to see it. There are certainly some moments in this song that just, it's like wrapping yourself in a warm blanket. And her voice as well. I now understand, thanks to all the comments on my previous video, like just how big Carpenters were. I kind of knew of them, didn't really know their music. I definitely was aware, I remember hearing about the tragedy of Karen Carpenter being so young, and it always pains me. I always think, imagine what other music they could have put out if they were still around. I often think that of music from centuries ago, a lot of the music that I sort of studied. Many more people died really young back then. So much music has just been lost and will never ever be recovered. It's sad. Anyway though, her voice, I mean, her first entry.
We've only just begun.
Straight into that vibrato, the phrase coming through. Notice how she's going longer here at the end of the phrase.
To live.
Straight tone, then as the note grows, so does the vibrato. It really is just like wrapping yourself in a blanket. It follows on from a lovely clarinet introduction. I'm pretty sure it's the clarinet. I'll put a clip up of what a clarinet sounds like and you can be the judge. There are so many woodwind instruments and variations on instruments that exist. But yeah, let's go with clarinet on top of this very simple piano part. Kind of like an Alberti bass, which would be that, but I think that we're hearing this, which is interesting. A chord that starts on the outside and then moves to the middle. Super simple, almost fairy-like or magical, and then combine it with the clarinet. Then of course her vocals come in, and as the song progresses we just see so much growth. Bass.
Only begun.
Before the rise.
That chord there, I'll come back to this in just a second. This song, it sounds familiar. I don't think I know it because the melody is not immediately recognizable. So I don't know if the song is familiar, maybe it's been in a film I've seen, or if it's just their style is so unique, so distinctive that you hear one song and it reminds you of another song and you think, oh, have I heard this before? But it's chords like that and the instrumentation and her voice, of course. Right, well, speaking of the chords, I might as well go into them a little bit. I showed you the introduction, but the skeleton in terms of chords, we're basically just going back and forth, which is actually quite interesting. I won't bore you as to why. But then when we get the first different chord,
we've only just begun.
We're still doing the back and forth. Ah, that's the new chord. And then the new chord that she was just singing, to live. I'm thinking, oh, that's different. Where to next?
White lace and promises, a kiss for luck and
Some more new chords. And then this chord, you'll notice it says minor, which means it's sadder sounding. The very first chord that we had, look how similar these two chords are. You actually only just change one note. So even though the sadder sound lower down is completely different, the chords are actually really as close as they can be. They're so closely related, we actually refer to that sadder chord as the relative minor. Then here, and then a lovely suspension, resolving down, and then back to the beginning to carry out that progression. In the more delicate moments towards the start, before the texture thickens and becomes louder,
a kiss for luck and we're on our way.
the piano underneath her is basically going, but it's actually going. This clash, it's really quite harsh, quite dissonant, but it's played high up in the piano, very delicate. It's just giving us a tiny bit of extra tension in the music, especially when her voice is just so soft and luscious.
Kiss for luck and we're on our way.
Higher up in the phrase in the airy voice, then moving down to that full contralto chesty sound that she has. Quite a low range for a woman. Yeah, really nice. Look, there is much more I actually want to talk about in the harmony, but for time reasons, let's carry on with the song for now. Maybe I can revisit them in our next pause. Let's carry on from that little fall into the key change.
Sharing horizons that are new to us, watching the signs along the way.
Return?
And when the evening comes,
Filthy harmonies.
we smile. So much of life ahead. We'll find a place where there's room to grow.
And yes, we've just begun.
Sharing horizons that are new to us, watching the signs along the way. Talking it over, just the two of us, working together day to day. Together, together. And when the evening comes,
They like their little transitions, don't they, in between sections? Oh.
together.
With the bass line sliding up, dum, I'm thinking, oh, what's going to happen? The harmony's completely static here. The percussion is out. By the way, I really want to get myself a tambourine. I would also need the luscious long hair, which unfortunately I will never have. Unless you want to finance a new wig for me. You know, I've got my Buy Me a Coffee linked below.
Together.
Still static harmony. They're just moving up. I'm thinking, are they going to keep going up? But
And when the evening comes,
soft return Smooth. I know this is obviously a studio video. I'm not sure who for. Does it say? The music video description literally just says MTV. So I'm guessing this was on MTV. Surely MTV wasn't around then though. This is from 1970, I believe. And MTV, I thought the first kind of videos were in the 80s. I don't know, maybe a live broadcast from somewhere. If you know, let me know. Anyway, I understand, you know, it's like Top of the Pops or something. It's not meant to be live. Sure that everyone's sitting there playing their instruments, but we're hearing the studio audio. That's pretty obvious. I still find it a little bit funny when
On the way, chucking it on.
when he comes in and then we're hearing this massive expanse of voices creating this really, really rich harmony. Immediately my brain just focuses on the harmony, and then I'm seeing like one person here. There are, of course, the others who could technically be singing, and then we go into the realms of like diegetic versus non-diegetic music. This is not a music essay, so we will not do that. But yeah, I just find it a little bit funny, actually.
Working together day to day.
Although it does actually, I don't know, because music ultimately is what we're hearing, visuals can really complement the music, and that's why we have music videos and, you know, all this kind of stuff. While one is not dependent on the other, they can actually enhance each other. Here's a case. I was just talking about the multi-tracking, the ahs, but then they suddenly moved to homophonic singing. So all of the backing vocals are singing the same words at the same time in the same rhythms as Karen's melody.
Working together day to day.
And seeing them, just the two, in my brain, creates a bigger contrast between the homophonic treatment of the singing and then just the backing ahs. Maybe you completely disagree with me on that one, but I don't know. I find it a little bit interesting. So nice.
So much of life ahead.
And a very subtle change there. The rhythms. Do, 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 dum. If we think about the rhythms a bit more granularly, so instead of 1, 2, maybe 1, 2, 1, 2, just shifting to thinking in threes there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's like an injection of energy, even though at this moment I would use the word, it's very swooning, very, very calming. It just makes you want to sway.
We smile. So much of life ahead.
If only it was acceptable for popular music to be written like this today. It would be a great thing. Right, earlier on, I said I will revisit something that I wanted to talk about, so we'll do that now. Just a quick reminder that in the introduction, you know, we're basically hearing these chords. And then she comes in, and then we move, and then we get some more chords. And then back. The keen-eyed of you might have noticed that any chord I played contained 3 notes, and they're all spread evenly apart. The bottom note is note number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 5 make up the chords. Every chord pretty much that we're hearing in this song, they add in an extra note. The 7th note. And immediately, there's that Carpenters feel. It's a magical feeling, and they're doing it on basically every single chord. I think that is the single most important thing they are doing with the harmony to give the song the feel. There's a super popular song that was released a couple of years ago. Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga, Die With A Smile. I did do a video on that song, which I would definitely recommend checking out. I'd love to play a long clip of that song, but because of copyright, I can only show a few seconds. But still, that's what they do in this song. The whole song is just dominated by these major 7th chords. Taking a chord, adding in that 7th note, creating a little bit more dissonance and just giving it this luscious feel. That's just the opening, and you can already feel the impact of that.
I wanna hold you just for a while.
You might be thinking, Sir Hairless, what are you on about? These are 2 completely different songs, 50 years apart. Yeah, they are, but maybe they're not quite as dissimilar as you might think. And that's all thanks to these little harmonic tricks that the artists are doing. The Carpenters have just owned this chord. We're hearing it everywhere, and it gives it that feel. It really, really does. So, adding in the 7th note, the more notes you add into a chord, the more kind of crunchy and juicy it will get. Here is another great example, and it's that moment of, oh, just absolute good filth. Let's have a listen.
We've only begun.
Before the rise.
What a chord. What a lovely chord.
We've only begun.
Before the rise.
So it's that same chord with the 7th, but also the 9th note in there, which is even more dissonant because this 9th note, if you bring it down the octave, it's clashing with note number 1. It's called the supertonic.
Before the rising sun.
But yeah, so good. In my last video, I was referring to the backing vocals as like the chorus. I got many comments telling me that all the backing vocals are done by the Carpenters. Apparently, they were huge proponents for this form of multi-tracking. I would therefore think perhaps they were the pioneers or one of the pioneers of it, and I'm all for it. Typically, blood-related people's voices tend to work well with each other, but if you want to harmonize with someone and get a good blend and get your voices to match, the best person would be yourself. So if you take loads of Karens, loads of Richards, put them together, you know, the blend will just be gorgeous. And that really, really helps creating these chords that are so juicy and luscious that they basically begin to feel like clouds. You listen to them and you feel like you're sitting on a cloud. Okay, I think I'm starting to talk a little bit of nonsense, so I'll stop there. Let's carry on and finish up the song.
And when the evening comes, we smile.
Lovely piano line at the top as well.
So much of life ahead. We'll find a place where there's room to grow.
And yes, we've just begun.
Now, I would say that ending is a tierce de Picardie, otherwise known as a Picardy third, basically where you end a song or a section of music in the major happy sounding when previously it's mostly been minor. That doesn't really apply here because a fair portion of the song is actually kind of happier sounding, but they do end with an unexpected chord. That chord is the major, the happier sounding version of the first new chord that was introduced that I spoke about when Karen first comes in.
We've only just begun to live.
That chord there. But the one we end on. So after 2 Carpenters videos, I know 2 songs is not a lot, but I think I have a pretty good idea about how much their music really considers and thinks about harmony and how it can make the songs interesting and create this really soft, magical, gentle feel. Of course, all musical aspects play a part, and her voice is one of the most important features, I'm sure, and Richard's. But if we just dig a little bit deeper than most people normally would, then yeah, a lot of the clues to their magic, I think, can be found within the notes they choose, basically. I like how we come full circle as well. The lyrics of the song, the first verse, it's talking about a wedding, I believe, you know, with the white lace and a kiss for life. Makes you think about the life cycle, the circle of life, and we come full circle at the end as soon as the clarinet came in. I was thinking, oh, that's going to be the end now, isn't it? We start with the clarinet, we finish with it. And it looks like it is a clarinet because Mr. Mad Tambourine Man, play a song for me.
Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me.
Well, he is on the clarinet as well. Yeah, just a really nice song, isn't it? I'm not sure how well it works for like a reaction video. Luckily, I'm not one of those channels who just screams about everything. I think I am sort of quite calm in general. So to you, maybe there's not much difference whether I reacted this or the most crazy song of all time. This is definitely one where harmony is super important. Unfortunately, the more I talk about harmony, the less people watch my videos. It just is how it is. So we'll see with this one, but I think the harmony was just too important not to talk about. Well, let's leave that one there. If you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you want to see more Carpenters by commenting down below other songs by them I should do, and by liking the video. The more likes I get on these videos, the more I know people want to see more. Thank you once again, and I will see you in the next one.